Hey up everybody and welcome back. Well, you've got a slightly different view this week, basically because there's nothing on the lift table. So I spoke to Gary Fleckney at Rock Shocks and they're all made and should be on their way. I think he was going to ship them today, so should have them by the end of the week with any luck. Still no sign of a piston, so we will continue on. We will just continue with the GreeBSA. I've got a couple of things to show you with the engine, and then what we're going to do is pull the frame out and that pair of forks that I've got in the shed, because neither fork works, so we've got to strip them, and I'm not sure if I've got a top yoke, so we might buy a piece of alloy, inch thick sort of thing, and make a top yoke. Who knows? I'm going to put Yamaha TY250 wheels in it. I looked on eBay and there was a fella selling a front wheel, and I saw he was selling a back wheel as well, and as I've mentioned before, now they always split them apart, so the wheel spindles were separate and the brake plates were separate. So I sent him a message and said, you know, I'm interested in buying both wheels complete. So he came up with actually a really good price with free shipping. So I ordered them, and then he got back to me, and possibly because I said wheel spindle and he would be thinking in terms of axle, he said, oh, that the wheel spindles weren't in with the price, so will you just buy them separately? And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'll probably have to make spindles because, you know, the wheels aren't going into a TY, so certainly for the back I'm almost certainly have to make one. So I just didn't bother with the wheel spindles. So we've got wheels coming, and that's good. What else? You might hear noises today. The tree crew is finally back, and they're right out behind the workshop with the big machine that goes along chewing things up and what have you. What else? Oh, let me show you this. Hang on a second. I'm back. There's the start of the list. So this is going to be like, do you remember when I built the second Royal Enfield? And you know, I had all that stuff, enough to build up 2 engines, and the second engine, it kept being, oh, I don't have push rods. Oh, I don't have camshafts. Oh, I don't have this. So that's that. I printed out the specs for it, so I can measure everything, and also the parts book. So that's good. And I was looking, I have a big list of sort of every BSA. I think I got it from the BSA Owners Club in the UK, with the engine numbers and the dates and everything, and it goes right back to the year dot. And I was looking through that, and I get to the B40 star, I'm trying to date it, and there's, I don't know, there's 10 or 12 pages with, you know, there's like 200 or 300 sort of bikes listed over the years. And the one year I want, it's missing off the bottom of the page. You can see just the top of the letters. But anyway, the engine number is 35 something something. So I was just checking online, and that makes it a 1961, which means it's got the bronze bush big end. Now I think I can get, I got a quick look, and I can get the same sort of alpha conversion, but it's $240, and there's absolutely no play on that big end. So I don't know how much use the bike will get, things like that. I might just, because you know I'm going to be spending a lot on this engine anyway, so I might just put it together with that. Okay, so enough talking, can't think of anything else. Let me show you a couple of things with the engine, and then we'll pull the frame and forks out and see what we need to do with them. Right, well, first thing is a bit of an advertisement for Evapor Rust. You remember how horrible these were when I took them out? Look at all this. That stuff really really works. You remember this was all rusted up and horrible? I mean, everything. It comes out beautifully. I've given it a quick squirt with WD-40 to make sure it doesn't rust back again. But that really is great stuff. So, and I checked, I can get, where is it? I can get a new one of these bushes. Actually, it does need changing. You probably can't see it, but this is where the oil seal runs, the chain case oil seal. The clutch goes on here, and it's worn into a real groove, so I probably would have replaced that anyway. So there's that. Camshaft came up nicely as well, so I think that'll be all right. What else? Been giving the cases a wash. For this, which is, yeah, it's stiff though. This is in a bronze bush in here. And there, I think I've got a comment about this actually. There should be a little grub screw. The bronze bush has a recess in it, and that grub screw goes in there to hold the bronze bush that this runs in. Well, the grub screw's not there, but this didn't want to knock out, so I've got to heat that up and try and get it out, because I want to take all that out so I can bead blast it. Yes, you can see it. This bronze bush here, I measured the crankshaft and I measured the bush, and there is 3 thou clearance. According to Rupert ratio, the spec is 2 to 6 thou, so that's all right. I haven't measured the other bushes and things yet, so, and I haven't whoops, where are we? You're a little bit out of focus there, I think, but never mind. I haven't done anything to look at that yet. Oh, the engine number was 3015, but a 62 started at 4,000 and something. So I think that's definitely a 61. I think 60 was the first year, a year after the C15. All right, what else? Oh yeah, one more thing from the engine. Oil pump. Can't turn it, just my fingers. Ooh, that's really difficult to turn. So we'll take that apart and see what's what with that. Let me go and find forks. Right now, so there are the forks. There's the bottom yoke. I've got a feeling they're off a motocross bike because the bottom yoke has got mountings for a high, mudguard. I think these are Ossa, because I've got a pair of Ossa wheels as well, which have huge hubs. They have Barani type shouldered alloy rims, but the hubs are enormous. Now then, I was just getting these out, as I say. Now I don't want to move. I mean, they turn, but oh, there's a little grasshopper thing. So I was looking for a top yoke and I didn't find one, but that's a Yam 650 one. These are 35mm, this is 35mm. I've got to check it exactly, but I think no, just wider. That's a shame, because this basically lines up, but it's fractionally wider. Okay, because I was just thinking the yoke on the standard Enfield, which has Yam 650 forks in, is not a Yam 650 top yoke, and I suddenly thought, I wonder if it was the top yoke off these. But if that isn't right, then hang on. Let's make sure I am. I'm just trying to. There we go. Do. Come on now. That's loose. Hey. See if I can do it from the other side so I don't get in the way. Oh, no, miles out. Alright, can't use that one. So let's have a look to see about taking these forks apart. Alright, let's have a look at this. If I can find out what sort of forks they are, I might be able to get a yoke. You know my policy, don't make anything you can buy. That is in remarkably good condition for the age of these. Okay. Oh, that's loose. Somebody's really smacked these about. This bottom end, that hole isn't round. Somebody's hit the bottom of this. The hole in the end there, look, isn't round. Huh? Look how flat that is. Oh. Well, that came apart alright. Good. They look straight. Why doesn't that want to come out of there? The end of that looks as if it's been bumped as well. Oh, there. Well, that might just be that coming off the end, I think. Let me see if I can put a thin rod through that hole and then get that out like that. Let me switch you off a minute. Now, got that piece off the end. Even the circlip in there looks like it's damaged. Might not be using these forks after all. Okay, there's the circlip out. Let's see, look at that. Looks as if it's damaged. Put some croil in here. There's the little sort of pre-bound spring thing. Oh, that's weird. What I can see down in here now is square. Let me find a bit of alloy that will fit in this end that I can bump it with. Alright, let's see if it will move this way. Nope, that's just moving in the vise. That seems to be moving a little bit. Excuse me. Very strange. Excuse me again. Let's see why that doesn't move in there. Let me check what you can see here. You can't see the top bit, can you? Oops. Alright, let me work on this a bit more. Right, I put you on automatic focus because I'm going to try and show you something. Alright, so gave it a couple more bumps and then this just shot out. Now when I look up inside this, about a finger length up, it's machined from here to about there, fractionally larger diameter, got just a few thou. And this, as you can see, it's got this square piece on, which is just to centre it, I guess. Then it's got a rubber washer on, or a rubber damper. Then it's got this alloy piece. Now I'm going to try and bring it up close. Come on now, focus. There. See that broken edge? Don't know what's done that. There's nothing in there. There's another, what's it? Where's my pliers gone? Another circlip there. Another circlip there. And then that collar, I could make another one of these. See what the other one looks like when I take it apart. Weird. Okay. Let me just clean my hand. Well, I can just about turn you off. I've got a clean finger there. So, a new day dawns. I've put that there because when I was putting the video in the computer last night, I noticed that when I held the book up, the lights just washed the page out. It was overexposed. So, this is the start of my list. As you can see, full page of things, and I haven't really gone through everything yet. So, what else? I warmed the cases up and got that out. That's the drive to the oil pump is there. So that comes off the worm drive on the end of the crank, drives the oil pump at this end, and would drive the distributor at that end. There's that little bronze bush I mentioned, that the grub screw should have gone into there to hold that, keep it in place. So I'll have to get a grub screw. I wonder what thread it is. What else did I do? Oh, I just could not get the other fork apart at all. The Allen bolt in the end just turned and I can't find any way to hold the insides. So I thought, sod that. I'm not going to make life difficult for myself, so I'm going to go and get a pair of BSA forks out the shed and we'll use them. They feel really good on the B44 that we just finished, so I'll use them. So let me get them out and the frame, and we'll start looking at the headstock. So here we go. Frame, forks, yokes. Even got a wheel spindle in it, but we won't be using that. Right, so I've got to clean all the grease and get the races out of the headstock there. You remember this is seized in here. We had to cut through it to get the swinging arm out. So I'll have to cut through there. Oh, I don't think I'm going to sew in that side. I can the other side. I'm not bothered at all, in fact, about these spaces here, because we won't be using this entire cradle. We'll be making some alloy plates up at the front there, and from, I guess, where are we at? There's a mounting point here, and that mounting point on the frame will make a plate for the back. Then we'll think of something for underneath. Probably just be the bash plate, which is going to be bolted to the front and back, and we'll have a bottom mounting on that, like we did with the otter frame and what have you. Okay, so let me clean all this up so I don't get clattered up, and then we'll see about what we need to fit those yokes into that headstock. Oh, one other thing, last night I consulted the Rupert ratio book and he said to look for this number stamped on the conrod to check, because in the early days C15 and B50 they kept changing the big end bearing. So this one is 41-55. That means it is definitely a 61. It's definitely the bronze bush, and he recommends changing it for the alpha bearing conversion. I checked with BSA unit singles and they have several other conversions. As I say, they're $240 each, but you know, to change it's a complete engine strip down, so I'm thinking about it. I'd hate to have that bronze bush give out on me and then have to sort of strip everything. So we'll do that. The other thing I noticed was he's out of stock of the alloy barrels and he's out of stock of the 7-to-1 piston that I want, so I'll have to give him a call and talk to him. Alright, let me carry on cleaning forks. So you may remember that the top end here, underneath the outer bearing race, there's like a disc with a little hole in it for the rod that goes through for the two yokes on the Greaves forks. Well, we aren't going to need that because we're going to have a much bigger stem in there. Oh, so much grease in these, they're absolutely packed. Makes getting this top grease out. I don't know if they get them out. Look at the grease on that. See, that's causing it to miss the race. I'll get my head in the way there, sorry. I wonder if I can get the bottom one out first. Now I can get that. No, didn't I have to sort of fish that out? Didn't I pull it out or something? God, it's only, what, 3 months ago that I did this, and I've forgotten already. Yeah. Thought so. Right, I'm not going to have you spending your time watching me thumping things. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but this race does not protrude past there, so there's no edge to get a drift on to knock this out. Did I have to weld something onto that race to knock it out? I think maybe I did. Alright, let me do that. I found an old outer race that was a bit smaller, so I've welded it this side, I've welded it that side. I think that should be enough to hold it, so let me turn this over. See if it'll knock out. Hold on a second. There you go. Ha! The weld just broke. It's the trouble, you see, this stuff isn't good to weld to. I wonder if I should have brought, let me try bronze in it instead. Right, I put some bronze on and I started tapping it and it seems to be moving. Oh! Oh, bugger it! Look at that, the heat broke it off. What has they made this thing out of? Let me look some more. Right, I had to go with the carbide burr. These things are incredibly hard. I can't believe they made them so you can't knock them out. But anyway, what I've done is I have bronzed, or what, there's a little gap behind them, I don't know how. It's just the tiniest edge, so I've bronzed the washer on. Actually, this thing could have done with being a bit longer. Actually, could have done with being a lot longer. Hang on, let me see if I can put this in the vise. Alright, found a little bit of 1/2 inch tube which just went on there, and I think that should have lengthened it enough for me to be able to put that in. That's more like it. There we go. See where I started to grind it, look. Okay, let me turn this over and see if we can get the other one out. The other one doesn't really have a gap, I don't know. Right, let's see. I don't know, can you remember? The BSAs have a washer underneath the bearing which gives more of a sort of land for a drift to work on. There's nothing. Shit. I have a little cheapy MIG welder. I could try that thing where you weld around the inside. Supposedly it pulls them in so they come out. Leave it with me. I've run a TIG bead round it because I had the TIG welder out, and look, bugger me, it works. It's loose. Well, there you go. To those people in the past who suggested I do that, I wish I had. So you don't need a big welder, you just got to weld a bead round. Bugger me! At last something worked, people. Alright, we'll leave that to cool down, and I can hear the wood cutting people outside. I'm going to go and see what's going on. Alright, this might be another false start, and I might not be able to use the BSA ones. I've just gone to check how long this stem is, and there are we, measuring stick. That is 3 inches. So from the centre there to out here is 1.5 inches, and from there to the centre is only 1.25 inches. So that would mean I'd have to have these sticking out and have the bearing right there, which would extend the distance between the yokes, because this is longer than that, and I'd have virtually no fork. Oh, bugger me. You see, lulled into a sense of security with that last little weldy thing working. Alright, time for sarnie. Let me think about this. Right, well, the sandwich and a cup of tea didn't give me any amazing ideas. I have something at the back of my mind, but I really got to look at that. Right, but this has been laid about for ages. You remember I turned up 2 of these so I could fit the yokes before I got the new bearings, and as luck would have it, that hole is just the right size for that. So you put that in there and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. That is now up against that. Now, I thought to myself, I know what I'll do. This stem's got to be a little bit longer. I'll take the stem out and turn this yoke that way up. But unfortunately, I don't know if you'll be able to see, if you can see this, but the forks are at an angle to this. They're not parallel with the stem. So these are made for the forks to go at an angle like that, to cast them at that angle. So if I turn these upside down, they would cast them outwards, wouldn't they? Yeah. How would they? Yes, of course they would. Because now the angle will be that way. So that won't work. Then I was wondering about taking a piece out of here and maybe putting welding a little piece in. I guess these are cast steel, so I would bronze it in. Don't have any other forks. Well, I don't have any other forks that would suit. I have a pair of forks out of a Harley Davidson Sprint, which was, it's a 350, which was the Air Mackie. After Harley Davidson had, I don't know whether they bought them completely or bought a majority share in Air Mackie. They sold them here as the Harley Sprint. Even made a mess of that actually. But I have a pair of forks of them, but I've got a feeling they might be too light. Even though it was a 350, they're a pretty spindly pair of forks, I seem to remember. Hang on, let me go and get them and we'll have a look. No, I didn't even bother bringing them. I measured them. They're only 30mm stanchions. That's far too spindly. And I've just thought of something here. The only way I could machine this is to take the spindle out. I'd need to take 1/8 of an inch off. There's 2 webs here. You see, one there, one there. They do actually have a little cutout in them, but I'd need to take them a bit further out. And of course, I wouldn't be able to get a mill in here because an end mill is only so long. I'd have to take this out to be able to get at that. I mean, I could grind it out with a carbide burr. The other thing, of course, is we could pull the Greaves banana forks out and look to see how much it would take to repair them. Let's have a look. Alright. Now we are in a position where if these are not repairable, they're scrap. See, that's... I wonder if I cut out sort of... Let me get a felt tippy. There's one there. If I cut out that piece to have a look. Now on the other one, there's one hole there, there's one hole there, that looks like one there. Don't think that is. So we could try cutting out that. What do you think? Worth a go? As I say, if I don't repair these, they're basically scrap. And if it's only, I mean particularly that one, if it's only that little bit, I should be able to shape a piece to fit in there, weld it in. And that's not, let me open you out a bit. Oops, sorry. And that's not particularly big, it only goes round to here. Oh, things falling over all over. Let me cut that piece out. And see what we can see when I've cut it out. Should have one of those endoscope things, but as you can see, it's not too bad in there. There is a hole on the other side, but it's just a hole, and I've been scraping the inside of it. Here's the piece that came out of that. Trying to keep everything in focus here. I don't know. See, in terms of economics, if I use these, I could get a cheap pair of shocks for them. But even a cheap pair to be decent is going to be a couple of $100. I could probably buy a pair of forks for $200. And I don't really want to put these on this bike. Oh, bugger. This really is annoying. Alright, let me give this some more thought even. This is a lot of thinking. My brain just about hurts. But I've come up with two possibilities. First possibility was, how about using some different yokes? Because I do have a couple of pairs of yokes. So, hang on, let me pull you out so you can see more. So I have this pair of yokes here, right? Now these are actually the Yams, they're not Yam 650, but they're 35mm, right? Now it just so happens, you may remember this from when we took the other pair apart, the BSA forks are not the same diameter all the way along. And here, which is where the yoke should go, let's see, that's 7 inches. That's 7 inches. Where the yoke should go, they're 35mm. So the bottom yoke would be a perfect fit on that. Top yoke, of course, we've got this taper. But that is a loose fit in there, really loose. I could make a couple of collars, the idea of which is tapered, so they would fit on there and go up into the clamp up. Right, then the only thing that's slightly in the way are these, but only by about 1/8 of an inch, and I can always make up some other steering stop. They are not vital. So these yokes would fit, and I could put the BSA forks in those yokes, minimal cost. But then I got thinking, wait a minute, if I'm only about 1/8 of an inch out, that's the battery just went then when I was getting clouted up with grease. Okay, so what I was saying was, if I'm only about 1/8 of an inch out, this is a huge casting. This thing here, well, it's 1/4 of an inch to this steel insert for the bearing. I could take 1/8 of an inch off that, and then even the BSA one would fit. But I don't even need to do that if I use those other yokes. You know what? I'm going to use those other yokes. Because apart from anything else, I think they'll be lighter. And actually they're the same width. Oh! Hold on a second. No, just measured them. Centre to centre, 6 3/4, 7 inches. So I couldn't use that top yoke. Alright, but I am going to use these yokes in there. Now then, the other thing is the bearing. That was exactly the right size. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hold on again. Right, so first stage was to cut a piece of 1.5 inch solid. And as I said, the first one I cut was basically the right length to go in there and be exactly the same size as that. But I found that didn't give me any leeway when I made a mess of it. So I've cut a piece that's longer. As I said, this is 1.5 inch. It actually, the fork leg, which is 35mm, is 1 3/8 inches basically. So first of all, I turned it down to 1 3/8 inches. Then that goes in there. The largest drill I've got is 15/16, which surprised me. I thought I had some really big ones that go into, that have the Morse taper that goes straight in the tailstock. But anyway, drilled it out to 15/16. Then this is set at my, what I decided eventually was the last one I did, 2.5 degrees. And then I use cross slide going in like that, so that's moving it at an angle. Gradually I took it out till I got close, and then I was fitting the fork stanchion into there till I got it right. And as I say, instead of trying to get it right at this end, I thought, let me make it long, and get it so that it goes down onto the stanchion as far as I want it to go, and then when I know that's nice and tight, we can put it on, and the very final stage is I can face off the end so that it matches perfect. Alright, so I'm not going to go through a lot because I know we're up to about 50 minutes. I don't want to go mad. So that's how I made that. So I've got to make another one. See, I would have been all finished if I'd made them right in the first place, because as I said, this is the third one. So you can see it's thin that end, thick that end. It is tapered. So let me make another one of these, and then we'll have a look at the stem in the yokes. Alright, that's two of them done, and I've just got enough time, I think, to bore out for the 1-inch stem in the bottom yoke. Right, so this is the best view I can get for you of things in the lathe, but got that in, make sure it'll turn without any problem. So what we're going to do is start to turn this to be 1 inch. At the moment it is 877. So what's that, 127 to come off it. So we'll take 60 off, that's 120, and we'll see how that goes. Right, we don't want it at that speed. Oh, I don't know. The lid started making a little bit of a noise. Just a dip, 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 dip. I don't know if it's the bearing in the headstock starting to go. Anyway, let me take the bit off and we'll zero it. That tube is swaged, so I don't know how much we'll get off here. But anyway, we'll take this out to 1 inch, and then the new stem will fit in, and then we're actually going to use the top of the old stem because it's got the right threads and everything on it. Right, we'll set this cross slide down to 0. Get a proper measurement of this. I want to make it a tight fit so that I can put the stem in and then make our measurements for how long we want it and then take it back out to be able to put it back in the lathe. That's actually saying 989. 989, so that's 11 to go, isn't it? 989, 91, yeah, 11, so we'll take just less than that. 10 off. That's cutting oil. Yeah, looks like cutting oil. Thought I'd marked that to say cutting oil. Apparently not. The trouble with having that on is you can't do stuff on this side like you're cutting to. Well, you can if you put it between centres and all sorts of clever stuff. We'll have to see what we can do before we're finished. Anyway, let me switch you off until I've got this done. Alright, I'll show you this last bit. Might make the video a bit long. Here's the piece of 1-inch tube we're going to use. It's got a little lip, hang on a second. Alright, there's a little bird edge to it. That's nice. Good, see I can put that in. Don't forget this is going to be welded in at the end. I can put that into the headstock and everything, make some marks, take it back out, and then we can put it in the lathe to do the final job. So let me get this actually cut off there. Right, I cut that off with a hacksaw because there wasn't much wall left. I've put it on the new stem, and now I can come in, because see there's so many things stick out, you can't come at it from the side, but we can come at it from the end. With that. Except that's not. I'll have to Loctite it on there. Now let me put a drop of Loctite on to hold it, and then we'll just heat it up to break the joint. Oops, started doing it there, forgot to turn you on. The Loctite seems to be holding it fine. Just very light cut now. Battery's on red, you might go off any second. Oh, just another couple that fell, but I'm going to switch you off. Well, this is perfectly timed, it's 5 to 5. So there's that nicely faced off for the bearing to sit on. Still warm actually. I've put the little alloy pieces in here. Dirty again, I just cleaned my hands. I don't know what, I put a glove on. So there we are. I put a glove on, then I get all of it with the other hand. So you see, and that now is right up to there. That is just about perfect. So as I say, we'll make some measurements because the top yoke won't go on over that. I don't think it's a 1-inch hole, but we're going to use the piece off the stem I took out to deal with the top of that, and that will go on there. Alright, so we got forks. Wheels came yesterday. That was very quick. I mean, they're used wheels, they look like used wheels, but they cost me $300 for 2 wheels. Complete. And 1 alloy rim is $260. $90 as forks. So even if I had the TY hubs and just hubs, it would still be $350 each wheel, and I would have had to buy the hubs. So probably $400 a wheel. I've got 2 of them for $300. So that's fine, and that's it for this week. Still no sign of a piston, although as I say, the rock shocks are on their way, but there's no point getting on with them till I've got the piston really. Well, I could pop them on, but that's all. So we'll carry on with this. We'll get the forks in. We'll see about making up various spaces to get the wheels in. Oh, so we'll have to do the swinging arm as well. I'm pointing here and I know you can't see it. So until next week, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.